Join us as we discuss Wolfenstein The New Order on the next episode of the Time Hop Podcast. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Time Hop Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Lozada, and I'm joined with Tim Ronan.
Hey, hey.
Hey. And we're joined with a very special guest, Josh Nichols from the Active Quest Podcast. Hi, Josh.
Hey, David, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good, too. It's nice to be on.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure having you. This week's episode is all about Wolfenstein The New Order, which originally released for PC, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3, and PS4 on May 20th, 2014. But before we jump into Wolfenstein The New Order, have you guys seen Detective Pikachu yet? It came out yesterday.
We are going to see it right after we finish recording. We're going to go see it today. I'm excited.
Yeah, I actually want to see that too.
Yeah.
People are saying it's good, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen nothing but good things, too. It's really impressive, I think, that the Sherlock Holmes policeman Pikachu movie is going to, change that.
I never thought that Nintendo would make a live-action Pokemon movie. I never thought I'd see it in my lifetime.
Yeah.
So, to see it kind of on the big screen all of a sudden, I really want to see this world kind of come to life. I'm more interested in the world than maybe the story itself, but still, I buy a ticket. All right, so let's jump right into the topic of the show. As I mentioned before, this week's topic is all about Wolfenstein The New Order, which originally released for PC, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3, and PS4 May 20th, 2014. In case you don't know, Wolfenstein The New Order is actually the 7th main entry in the Wolfenstein series. It once again stars the war veteran William B.J. Blazkowicz, and he has to stop Nazis from taking over the world. Who knew? It's set in this alternate history, kind of 1960s Europe, where the Nazis are just about ready to win World War II, and BJ and a group of, freedom fighters go to this last kind of enclave to do this kind of a last-ditch effort to win the war.
Yeah, things were looking really bad, and they were hoping to turn it around.
Exactly, yeah, from the Nazis, and this place is overrun with mechanical dogs and, super-powered soldiers, and et cetera, et cetera. It looks like they're going to win, but BJ kind of, he eliminates a whole army in this castle, and they're just about there, and you looks like, oh man, this game is over in an hour, but lo and behold, BJ gets hit with shrapnel, and he's in a coma for about 15 years after that. And the game progresses from there. BJ falls in love with this girl named Anna, and there's a little love story there, but the story really isn't the focus of Wolfenstein: The New Order. I think personally, the main focus is on its gameplay. That's really where you're going to have a lot of fun. So without further ado, let's talk about Wolfenstein: The New Order. What do you guys think of the game's presentation? Josh, let's start with you. What do you think of its presentation?
I remember when it first released, I just remember thinking it was really sharp. I don't know, the mechanics, it wasn't really too bogged down. It was very clear and concise how everything worked. There's a button for changing to dual wielding. There's a button for throwing a silencer on a pistol. There's a button for your map. It was really refreshing because it felt like I was playing just kind of a by the book video game again, which around that time is when games were just getting more and more massive. And so it was nice just to play a straightforward here's how you play Go kind of game again.
Yeah, like a video gaming game, for lack of a better term. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Tim, what did you think of its presentation?
I think it still looks pretty good today. In particular, I think all the weapon models and stuff, it felt like those look pretty sharp and nice. Um, and they also have like in the very beginning, you're doing that assault, and you can like you're like in a plane. You like look out the window, and there's like this like big fleet of all these guys on your side. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like I can get into that.
Yeah.
It's like a big grand sort of scene.
Yeah, I think, you're really touching on something, Tim, in the sense that this game has a lot of cool set pieces. It reminds me of Uncharted in that way, in the sense that there are some moments where, you're in a corridor and it's kind of samey, but then, you trigger. The thing that I'm thinking about right now in my head is the moon sequence, which is a little later off in the game. And
Right, I remember that.
yeah, it's cool. Like we'll touch the gameplay, the floaty kind of gameplay there. But once you're kind of done with that sequence, you escape in a pod, and you're rocketing down to Earth, and you crash land into a building. And as soon as you're out of the building, there are all these Nazis waiting for you, and they're shooting at you right away. And that kind of set piece, that sequence in and of itself, is just so cool. There are other things too. The last level was it's a very obvious homage to the original game because it's in the castle. It kind of begins and ends with this vibe of a kind of throwback to the original game, and I thought that was really cool. The headquarters was pretty cool. I like kind of all of the characters hanging around there. There's not much to do there. You could play the original Wolfenstein 3D there, but it's just kind of see this world that's lived in, and it does give you the impression that this is a 1960 kind of Europe where the Nazis have taken over the world. And yeah, the guns are really cool too. I like they feel very satisfying. Let's just go right into the gameplay. Josh, what did you think of its gameplay?
I think it really evokes Destiny, and I say that because like I think the thing that everybody can agree with Destiny is just how smooth it feels, and I think Wolfenstein also, hits that beat as well. It's really just, I don't know, fluid and smooth. It feels good to shoot enemies in that game, and like that might sound like it should be a given, but I've played plenty of shooters where like that's the goal and what you're supposed to be doing, but it doesn't necessarily feel as good to do and control.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand what you mean. Tim, what did you think of its gameplay?
It feels pretty strong to me.
Yeah.
I forgot I had played this like a couple years ago, and it didn't take too long before I was like, oh yeah, I remember, like this is pretty fun. It's not really too demanding of you. I mean, you can also, I do want to say I like the different like difficulty settings, especially like the one that like
Oh yeah,
if you choose the easiest one, it's like your your baby basically.
Mm-hmm.
They have like a picture of Blazkowicz and like a Binky and
Yeah.
baby whatever thing that's called, but yeah, it's not really too demanding, and you can totally go in just shooting like crazy and just having a fun casual time with it.
Yeah.
And overall, it's just really fun. Just going on what you said, the gunplay is pretty solid, and you get like a bunch of different weapons, and I think I remember the dual wield shotguns. Double shotguns are pretty awesome.
Yeah, I do too.
And I forgot there's things like there's collectibles, which I'm a sucker for, which I had mentioned before. And I also really like the perk system, which I totally forgot about as well. And you like, rather than gaining, experience and putting points into stuff, you just they're kind of like achievements. Like if you do certain things, you get upgrades to that kind of gameplay. So like if you do stealth kills, you get like, I think throwing knives, and then you can get stealth kills with those knives and get like the ability to hold more knives, and I just really like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean I think there are different ways to approach the gameplay in the sense that there is that stealth route, but then there are more kind of running gun routes where they give you enhanced agility, I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong. I played this game a while ago, so it's not right in front of me, but There are some routes that you could take to kind of enhance your own playstyle, but I think you can kind of gradually just fill everything out as you go along and just max out your character, which is pretty cool. It's very light RPG elements, I'd say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's kind of different as well, because I guess just as an example, I think of other FPSs like Call of Duty. I mean, I haven't played recent ones, but they usually don't have that kind of stuff. So it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. A little bit of progression sort of things to try and go for.
Yeah, I think the difference between Wolfenstein and New Order, I mean, I think we've already established the fact that this game is a very video gamey game where you just kind of, I think, Josh, you said it before, it's fluid and it's fast and it's you pick it up and you play it, you know? You don't have to worry about navigating through menus, you don't have to worry about keeping up with the story. I mean, there's a story there, but it's not really the focus, like as I mentioned before. It's just something that you want to have fun and kill Nazis, pick up this game. And
yeah, it doesn't require you to invest a lot to get a lot out of it.
exactly.
Like, you know, no disrespect to some of the great games out there like Red Dead 2 or like The Witcher 3 or, you know, Horizon or, you know, Zelda, but like those require you to, you know, learn a lot of different systems and mechanics and, you know when to do certain things. Whereas like this game's just like, here's your goal, do it. And it's just,
Exactly.
it's nice.
Yeah. There needs to be games like that where you just pop it on and it's like just not really a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have to think too much.
To me, Call of Duty was like that. You know, it was like you just put it on your console and you play it. But as I was mentioned, or your PC, you know, sorry. As I was saying before, I think what separates this game from Call of Duty is that somehow it feels more personalized. I don't really know what to kind of put my finger, and you know, you guys call me out if you think I'm wrong in feeling this way. I feel like it has a better identity in the sense that, you know, Call of Duty, you're flipping around through all these different characters. You don't really know what the hell is going on. You know, like maybe it's a testament to the story. I don't know, but I feel like with this game, I'm much more invested in Blazkowicz's journey, seeing him kind of pick up all these guns and play around with them and killing Nazis and stuff like that, as opposed to just killing some random goons in Call of Duty or whatever it is, like the Russians or XYZ terrorists or whatever, right? I'm thinking about Modern Warfare and like Black Ops all the way back then because I haven't played a Call of Duty game in so long. Yeah, I feel like that's how it kind of separates itself. There's something here that you're invested in and you want to, you know, Josh, you said this before, like you want to keep playing, and it's gameplay, some respect its story. So I think it all kind of comes together and you really feel it.
You're right though. Like it's a lot more intimate. Like it just feels more zoomed in. You know, like you feel like you know these characters. They're really smart because they don't add too many characters. They have a good balance, and they continue that in the sequel as well, where like it's a small enough amount of characters where they can flesh them all out without overwhelming you, and so you feel like you know all these people. Even Anya's grandparents, who you don't see for too long, you still feel like you know those people. Like they feel like real people, you know?
Yeah, I don't. Maybe it's the cutscenes. I don't know why I get that feeling, but you know, it could just very simply be the fact that they have screen time, you know, whereas in Call of Duty you're just kind of relegated to in-game cutscenes, you know. So I maybe I don't get that intimacy. Excellent word to use.
Maybe part of it just came from, and this is, I mean, multiplayer modes are certainly a fun mechanic. I mean, I play multiplayer shooters online, like, you know, I enjoy those, but maybe part of that came from them being able to just focus on single player campaign because they never had any interest in doing multiplayer for, you know, Wolfenstein 1. You know, this part of the Wolfenstein franchise, what is it, Machine Head Games, they didn't ever really want to do multiplayer, so maybe that's why they were able to pull off what they did, you know. Is because all they were worried about was this story, these characters, and these mechanics.
I was actually pretty much just thinking the same thing. Like, that's right. They do just focus on just the story of this, and that's what they've been doing with all these games. So that could definitely contribute to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything can feel meaningful because everything's there for a reason, you know?
Exactly. And when you think of it from a business perspective, I mean, this is what they're selling the game on, right? They're not selling it on live service multiplayer component or anything like that. So, yeah, I totally agree with you guys that this is the brunt of kind of what they have to sell the game on. Yeah, that totally makes sense.
I mean, I think we could use some Wolfenstein Battle Royale, you know?
No.
Oh,
No
come on.
thanks.
You're like fighting 100 Nazis all at once. Go.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Offline, 1 versus 100, and it's just me and Nazis.
Well,
Yeah,
that would
perfect.
kind of make sense given like the whole premise, right? Because it's like even I didn't play the new Colossus, but my assumption is that the Nazis own the world, so it's like this ragtag team of like 15 people taking
Yeah,
on.
the second one you end up in America.
Right. So it's like a group of freedom fighters in America, rebels in America, taking on like hundreds of thousands of Nazis around the world. So
Yeah,
it wouldn't seem too odd if we had a battle
yeah,
royale, like a single player battle royale game where it's just Blazkowicz fighting 100 Nazis all at once.
right.
Getting into the sound design of the game, what did you guys think of the music, the voice acting? Josh, let's start with you.
Oh my God, dude, I love the music in this game. Like it's just so good. It gets you excited, and it knows when to be loud, it knows when to be quiet, which I think is really important. And it's one of those things like might seem like a given, but it's just they worked really hard to get it that way. That doesn't just happen,
Right.
Um, and man, the guns sound fantastic. Like I don't know if they're realistic or not. I have no idea. I don't know anything about guns, but I mean, they sound good. I like how they sound. They sound satisfying. And the voice acting, I think the voice acting is phenomenal. I don't think that. I think it's just like the audio design where like people are like, oh yeah, it just sounds good. But like, I think it's really impressive that like right out the gate they have good, believable characters that you empathize with and care about. I really like how they fleshed out BJ Blazkowicz. Like he's got a good balance of like being like a badass, but not like coming too over the top. I don't know. They just
Mm-hmm.
the audio is very, very balanced. I really like how they did it.
Yeah, the voice actor for Blazkowicz, he's really good. I don't know his name especially, but Blazkowicz himself, he kind of treads this fine line between being a meathead, but also
Mhm.
being very sympathetic. Because when there are sympathetic moments in the in the game where he's with Anya and he's just about to go fight some Nazis again, and they're sharing an intimate moment, and he isn't like, yeah, babe, so I gotta go. He isn't very gruff like that. He's much more down to earth and much more human like.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I think you hit the nail on the head, Josh. They really get that across through the voice acting. Like he feels like a real life character,
Yeah.
despite the fact that he's killing all these guys with like one hand. So
Right.
so it's like I don't know. It is very, very cool, and it does convince you that this guy. It's a testament to, as I mentioned before, how this feels like a more intimate story. We're gonna keep coming back to that, but it's true.
If they feel like meaningful parts. Yeah.
Right. Although there are some moments there where it's spectacular and it's like, whoa, holy shit!
Yeah.
Like some Call of Duty Uncharted moments where there are lots of explosions and stuff like that. That's in almost all video games and first-person shooter video games, right? Like you're gonna have these gigantic set pieces so that they could push it on marketing or whatever. That's really just, it seems ancillary to really Blazkowicz and his humanity. What do you think of the game, Tim? Of the game's audio and sound design?
Yeah, I think I'd pretty much agree across the board with what's already been said. The voice acting is really good. I like Ferguson or Fergus. Fergus?
Oh yeah, I do too.
Fergus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
I always
Um,
save him, even though I feel bad. But yeah,
yeah. And yeah, the music's pretty good. Sometimes it's like kind of like weird and crazy, just atmospheric type stuff. But other times it just starts like rocking out. It's like, oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you in the sense that with both you guys, in the sense that it really knows when to pick and choose, when to use certain scores, and it kind of immerses you in that sense. It's excellent across the board. The guns, yeah, Josh, what you said before in terms of the guns, like, man, they feel so good. Like, especially my favorite is when I'm dual wielding. It's just like it feels so. I don't know if that's a testament to how the control design is, or I think it's really the sound. Hearing those two, those two guns firing at the same time is just so satisfying, and taking down like these goons and seeing like their little. I think they have like pipes and stuff attached to them. So seeing
hmm
like those little clouds kind of appear and hearing things kind of pop off, it's really cool. And the same thing goes with the gigantic kind of like tank mechanisms. I forget what they're called. The Uber mechs, where I don't know. That's just
Oh
my
yeah,
imagination.
yeah.
Those things too. When you're really like chopping away at them, you see little pieces and stuff like you hear the bullets on the tin on the metal, and it's really cool, especially when
You
you're up
don't need
close.
a life bar on those to know how far along you are in the battle. Like you could see them
Right.
taking damage. Yeah.
Right, and it's not something that's new, like a lot of games have done that, but for some reason or other, it just feels so genuine here, and
hmm
it's equally as satisfying as any other game that you find it in.
And you mentioned the two assault rifles. I just wanted to mention the two shotguns too. When you're dual wielding two
Mm,
shotguns, those things just pop. You
Yeah.
know.
yeah, yeah. When you're like just firing away and it goes boom, 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 it's so cool, man. I
It's
really
definitely a
love
game
it.
that's either like I would recommend people play either with headphones or surround sound, just because
Hmm.
yeah, I like playing with headphones a lot. And yeah, it's got very good sound. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree. One of the best parts, besides the gameplay for me. So, talking about the game as a whole, what do you guys think of it? Does it hold up today? Is it worth playing for modern people? It's only been 5 years, but still, is it worth playing for people who've just got into video games? Josh, what do you think?
I think it's aged really well. Yeah, I don't think it feels. I don't think it feels old. Really, I mean, I think they did a good job of making everything just feel so smooth and sharp. And they
Hmm.
made really, man, like I, it's hard for me not to get excited about this too, because like it's it's one of those things where like they did some things so well that like they seem like really easy to do, kind of like Nintendo with platformers.
Yeah,
You play a bad platformer and you appreciate Mario more, you know.
yeah,
um
yeah,
I've played bad shooters, and it's not just like, oh, just make some stuff to shoot at, you know. Like they made really good decisions with stuff. And one of the things I think is just really impressive that they did is they made some really good decisions graphically, because they were able to launch a game on 360 and PS3 with PS4 and Xbox One, and that game looks good no matter what you play it on. Like it just
hmm,
graphically, like it just, you know, they chose a really good style. It's it leans in more towards looking more realistic than like maybe like BioShock, of course, but they didn't shoot for straight just like down the line realism, you know. So like it's still
yeah.
stylized in a way where like I don't think it's going to age poorly visually either. So the gameplay and the graphics are just going to age really well. I think. I mean, so far they have.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. The main thing here is the fact that it's only 5 years old. So, in 10 years and 15 years, it'd be interesting to see what we think of it, what we think of the graphically then. But yeah, as far as 5 years is concerned, I agree with you. It's really not. I've seen a lot worse. you know. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think that that's something that would really take you out of the action. Tim, what do you think of the game? Is it worth playing today?
I would say absolutely. It's really just really, just for lack of a better word, fun to play, which
Yeah.
is obviously a good thing. But it's just, in a weird way, it can be like kind of laid back, which sounds weird considering you're fighting Nazis, but it's just, again, just not really demanding. It's just, the gameplay's just really fun to go through and just go through the motions.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me if I'm off base, but I kind of realized this, the way the game plays kind of reminds me of Doom a little bit, in that
Oh yeah.
it's just kind of simple. There's, you have a different selection of guns you can use. There's like, health and armor pickups and stuff, and it's just, I mean, the main thing you're doing of, shooting things is just really, really well done. And just, it's fun.
Yeah. It's using the idTech 5 engine, which I believe also runs. I I believe the Doom that came out in 2016 or 2017, the remake reboot, that one's using idTech 6, but it's basically the same kind of, more or less the same variation of the idTech engine, which powers Doom, which powers Wolfenstein, Prey. I think it powers. So that's probably where you're getting those similarities. And they're all Bethesda games. Just so
Yeah,
happens to
yeah.
be that all these developers are kind of sharing this ecosystem. So I guess that's why they have all that whole feel to them. I think even like the Evil Within, which is a completely different genre, has that feel. I haven't played. I don't remember much of it. I haven't really completed that game, but it's also, it feels like a Bethesda game. I don't know how else to explain it. Like a Bethesda game that's not Elder Scrolls. Yeah, I agree with you guys in the sense that I do think this game holds up today. They have a trilogy. I believe Pete Hines is his name, right? He said that there is a third game planned. I'm not surprised. They haven't really formally announced it, but
We've got two coming out this year too.
Hmm?
We've got Youngblood coming out, and then we've got a VR game coming out too.
Oh, really? I didn't know that they were coming out with a VR one.
Yeah, well, I think it's this year. I think when they announced it was like late 2019. I think it's
Oh.
so. I mean, it's possible to get delayed, but yeah, it's going to be on the PSVR, which it
Oh.
looks pretty cool. I forgot the premise, but I remember when I saw them like kind of show like some footage of it. It looked like, oh, that would probably be pretty fun. They're making smart. It's not going to be like a standard Wolfenstein game. I think you're like in a mech or something. I don't remember, but
Oh.
it's not going to be like a run and gun. That it's not going to be like these other ones from what I remember.
Right. I didn't know about the VR one. That one I completely missed that one. I do know about Youngblood though. That one looks cool. I'm a little worried about the co-op emphasis there, but I don't know. I feel like maybe it would be fun when
I'm
you're kind of
hoping that
thinking
it
about
works okay in single player because I don't think
Yeah.
it's mandatory multiplayer, is it? Isn't it?
No, I don't think it's mandatory.
Okay, so
I'm
I'm hoping that the companion plays okay.
Yeah, like the AI is fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing is like I feel like I have fun playing this game by myself, and I like taking down this whole army of people on my own.
Oh yeah.
So it's like to have another person there, it kind of takes that accomplishment away from me in a sense. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's a really really nitpicky thing, I think, maybe to kind of call it out for.
No, that makes sense. You're
but-
saying that. I see that. It could potentially do that. Yeah, I see what you're saying because you'll finish this giant battle in Wolfenstein, and then you're like, man, I did that.
Yeah.
So I see what you mean. Yeah.
It's like a battle royale experience, like Tim, what you said before. It's like a battle royale experience where you're really taking down. It really is. It feels like in some cases like a 1 versus 100 type of thing, and then I don't know. In Wolfenstein Youngblood, it might be 2 versus 100. So I don't know. We'll have to see. That game is coming out, I think, in the summer, in July or August, right?
I think sometime in the summer. Yeah, I pre-ordered it just because I want them to know there's support for it because I'm pretty excited. I'm also excited about it being two female protagonists. That's really exciting and cool.
Yeah, I agree. And the armor that they're wearing and stuff, like the technology and stuff, it all looks like it's endemic to the world, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see. Well, I have to play New Colossus first, and then I want to see kind of like where this story goes. as far as Blazkowicz is missing.
It's one of the games where I actually sought out the collector's edition guide just because like I like to collect those and not look at them because I'm stupid. But like I enjoyed it that much where I made it a point to get the nice little hardcover guide for it and the little posters that came with it. It's a game I really enjoy as well. Like they're definitely going in a good direction with quality where like they improve things that don't even need to be improved, but they still, are better, So that's,
Right. All right. So that about wraps it up. Our impressions of Wolfenstein: The New Order. Thanks for joining us. Next week, we're going to talk about Minecraft. Wow. Tim, you must be excited. Yeah. We're going to be talking about Minecraft. I'm looking forward to playing this because I know nothing about Minecraft, but Tim, you know everything about it.
Looking forward to hearing you guys talk about that. Minecraft is it's a really good example of a game that is as deep as you want it to be.
Yeah.
If you just want to build some structures and mine and fight some enemies and survive the night, then you can do it that way. Or you can, build an automated garden or whatever. So
yeah. Tim, how many gardens have you built?
I haven't done any like automated stuff like that, but people are crazy, man. They do ridiculous stuff that I don't know. I guess it's one of those things I haven't gotten around to because it's just.
Tim, I'm surprised. I would have thought you were going to say that your house was like powered by scripts in Minecraft.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I keep those separate a little bit, not on purpose, but I don't know. I guess when I'm doing survival, I just do survival and don't like add crazy stuff.
Right. It feels like a separate game, like you're playing different components of Minecraft, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm excited to hear that episode because like I'm kind of in between you guys. I don't know nearly as much as Tim, but I know more than you, David. Where I'm pretty familiar with a lot of stuff, and I probably put like I don't know, maybe a couple hundred hours into it over the years, just here and there. So that'll be really exciting to hear because Minecraft is a very very dense game. There's a lot that you can do.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it kind of changed the world in the sense that, or at least the video gaming world, in the sense that kids, it took over like educational systems. Like it started being implemented in schools, at least here in the East Coast. Kids in like Europe were playing Minecraft so that they could learn math. This really kind of game-changing game, for lack of a better term, and I'm very interested to see, the mechanics, the design of it, and stuff like that. So
it's the second highest selling game of all time. Well, it is the second. I would consider it the first because Tetris is the first, but they're including like every iteration, and there's like, a lot of different like versions of it. Whereas like Minecraft's essentially like there's essentially one version. I mean, like there might be a couple more features, but I mean overall it's the same game.
Yeah, like
it's really impressive.
Yeah. I mean, like you go to like iOS and stuff like that. There are going to be some things removed, right? But essentially it's the same. Yeah, across the board. Yeah. So tune in next week as we discuss Minecraft. Let's dive into games we're playing next week. Josh, what games are you going to be playing this upcoming week?
I replayed about half of Wolfenstein this past week. Will probably finish it. I really, of course, as we discussed, really enjoy it. And then I'm also I'm playing Life is Strange. I never really played it before. I tried playing it before. The dialogue felt really wooden and artificial. Like it just didn't feel. I just kept thinking like people don't talk like this, like, oh, I'm a ninja, and the way they talk is just kind of off sometimes. But Chris Penwell, he encouraged me like, okay, just finish the first episode at least, and that'll let you know if you would like it anyway. And so I finished that the other day, and so I still have some reservations on some of the dialogue, but overall though the characters and the world and the story is just really, really good in spite of the reservations I have. So I'm gonna keep playing that. I'm really enjoying it so far.
Yeah, I played that game not too long ago, and I do agree with you. There are some kind of hokey parts of it. I guess that's the best way I can come out with it. It's just it feels ungenuine, like the school, like I don't know, like I there are some things there that feel very like hipster for the sake of being hipster, you
Yeah,
know.
that's a good phrase. Like, yeah, I like that. Yeah.
And I get that Don't Nod is trying to make this impression of it being a, I don't know, this West Coast, like I think it's in where, like somewhere around Seattle or something. So I
Yeah.
guess
I
I
think
get
Oregon, I think. I
Oregon.
think
There
it's,
you go.
yeah.
So I get that they're trying to convey this sense of, okay, this is like, indie, very indie game, in the sense that you have like all these indie bands on Max, right?
The
Isn't that?
music's great. Yeah, I love the music. It's usually
Right.
incidental music, which I really like when games do that. So like it'll
Mm-hmm.
be her iPod or her her boombox in her dorm room, that kind of thing, or in the car. And yeah, I love when games do that and movies do that.
Right. And it feels like a small budget picture, like a movie, but in a
Hmm.
video game. It's like it has its worthwhile moments, like it has its like it's I won't spoil anything for you, Josh, but it has its moments where you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming, or like, wow, like I never thought I'd actually like this character, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But there are like some moments where you're like, okay, that's a little weird, and that didn't hit the mark.
Yeah,
And
it's got heart, and it's got a lot of heart, and it's
there
a
we
lot
go.
of parts mean really well, and they come across really well. And there's other parts where it's like that Steve Buscemi, how do you do, fellow kids? Where I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
There
Like,
you
she
go.
got her flash drive from her room, and she went, "I've got you, my precious." And I literally paused the game and just looked forward for a minute and was like,
I know.
okay, like,
Yeah, and some things that she says with man, what's her best friend's name?
Chloe.
Chloe, yeah. Some
Chloe.
things that she says with Chloe are like, what? I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but
Man, you like hella saved my life back there.
oh no. No.
Yeah, they say
Oh.
hella like, and I know that's a thing people say. I even say it ironically here and there sometimes because I don't know, it's a fun word to say, but like, there's times they say it where like it doesn't even make sense in that sentence. Like,
Oh
why'd you
god, that makes me cringe kind of just thinking about it. No.
go fuck yourselfie? Do you remember that?
Did they really say that?
Yeah, yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
Oh my god.
So there's just, I don't know.
Oh.
There's a couple of sentences here that are like really big cringe points for me. But overall, it's like
Oh
rough
god.
at its worst.
I'm like
There's
squirming
just
in my seat, dude. Like, I don't want to think about that. Ill.
yeah. So you hella say hella's used, man. Hella's used so much.
No, that's
Watch out for fireballs. They covered this game recently, and when they were when they were talking about it, they would use hella a lot, like while talking about the game. They'd be like, yeah, that mechanic was like hella good. I really, and they would just start laughing because, like, I don't know. It's just
Oh god, I
I just
can't.
suspect it was just a bunch of like older men being like, how do teenage girls talk? I think they
Yeah,
talk like this. Like, that's my guess. I don't know if that's true. That's what it feels like.
maybe
But
like they had like their daughter, like they heard their daughter say something like over the phone, and they're like, "I'm gonna put this in the game,"
yeah, they definitely like to say hella. Yeah.
yeah. Oh my god, no,
But
I
yeah, no.
can't do that.
To anyone listening, it's good in spite of these things, and I say that because I first tried playing this a couple years ago, and I got like 20 minutes in and went nope because of the dialogue. And
Yeah.
like, I'm in the middle of the third episode now of five, and I can say it's worth playing in spite of those things. Like, you'll just kind of off. I've heard complaints about the graphics, but I like the graphics. I think they're really pretty. It kind of reminds me of Skyward Sword, kind of like a watercolor type
Yeah.
effect. I don't know. I like the graphics. I think they're fine.
It fits in with everything. I think
Yeah.
it's like this again. This indie aesthetic where it's like these beige colors and stuff like that. The things that I imagine that I typically associate with hearing, what's a good indie band? I don't know.
Jay, they've got a
Jay?
song in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like a
I don't know if they're like indie though. Maybe like indie genre. Well, you know what I mean? Like, they're a bigger
yeah.
band, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just something that I usually think in my head, like I visualize in my head when I'm listening to a band like that that's like out on the road, and the main singer has this high pitched voice or whatever, and like I don't know, like it's just exactly what comes to mind, and I think that game kind of nails it in that sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there are parts of the game that kind of keep it from being a this like I saw some outlets that were like, wow, this is like the game of the generation. Like I was like, let's not,
Yeah,
let's not get
those are
too
my thoughts so
carried
far.
away.
I don't.
Like the story it's great, it's fine, and there are some good parts here, like some good twists and turns, but like let's not, okay? It's still like a episodic game where there are some kind of things thrown in there that are just for the sake of throwing things in there. Like there's one part where like no, I won't spoil it because I'm not sure if you got up to it, but there are like some like mental health things that they bring up there that are kind of poorly handled, and I'm like,
Oh, that's a bummer.
yeah, like I'm
Because
like,
I remember reading like, oh, this game tackles these issues, and so I was hoping that it would, you know,
it's still
handle them well. But
yeah, it's still like just for me personally, I feel like it doesn't handle them well, but it might for other people, so I don't know. But
right,
yeah,
so it sounds like at its best, it's at least well intentioned, which is nice. But
that's
yeah,
true. That's true. Yeah. So that about wraps it up for our impressions of Life is Strange this week. No, we just went at length with Life is Strange. So Tim, what are you playing this upcoming week?
Let's see. I'll be playing probably. It's not a very well known game,
Okay.
but it involves mining things
Interesting.
and
Never heard of it.
potentially also following mining of things. You create things. It's like you make it, you craft it. I think
Interesting.
it's
Okay.
it's weird. I don't know if it's going anywhere,
Hmm.
but it's up and coming.
what is this called? In case I wanted to check it out.
Crafty mine stuff. It's a bit of a mouthful. I know. It's not what I would have chosen, but
We will explore it next week. As for what I will be playing this upcoming week, I'm going to try dip my feet into Minecraft and see how I kind of acclimate.
yeah, we should. If you want, we could like play together
We could. Yeah.
because we never.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Last time we
You guys
did that
should-
was with Left 4 Dead.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, that would be fun.
I'm sure there'll be a couple of good moments where Tim can go, "Hey, David, what are you doing over there? Why are you doing that?"
Yeah, I can show you the ropes.
I'm just like digging in the ground, probably not knowing what I'm doing, and then I hit the lava or something. I really don't nothing about this game. Like all of my knowledge about this game is memes. So like truly, like seriously, that's
It's a good source of knowledge.
I
Memes are
I
very.
hope so. I mean,
definitely-
That's where I get all of my news. I'm just kidding.
that's my life basically. Yeah. So like,
You're gonna end up digging straight down. That's the first thing everyone does, and then you're gonna look up and go, "Oh no."
exactly. I'm gonna see like a creepers, right? Are what those things are called? What the young kids call them?
The big green guys that blow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. So, and I'll probably be watching some anime too. Like,
What are you gonna watch?
Attack on Titan.
Oh, right on. I still have to check that out.
Yeah, I say that in a very small voice because a lot of people hate Attack on Titan, and I get it. I get why. It's like very derivative in some respects, but it's kind of like Wolfenstein in the sense that it's very action packed. It's very like you watch it, you see things explode, and you see people die, and yeah, it's fun in that sense. Yeah, that's basically the show in a nutshell. And the second part of the third season is currently airing, so that's what I'm watching right now. Yeah,
Nice.
it's fun. It's nice to binge watch. I think so. It's worth that at least.
My wife and I have been watching Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z because I never saw Sailor Moon growing up, and she never really saw Dragon Ball Z, other than like in passing when her brother would watch it. So we do that on Mondays, and it's really fun.
That's so nice.
Sailor Moon's really cool so far too. I never really seen it, other than like I was aware of it, but I never saw it. But yeah, it's really cool so far.
Yeah, I haven't seen it all the way through, but I have seen Dragon Ball Z for sure. Like I've even kept up with Super. What arc are you in Dragon Ball Z?
Oh, we are. They're about to go to Namek,
Okay, gotcha.
which it's really fun because like I haven't seen like every single episode, but for the most part, I've seen like probably like 85% of Dragon Ball Z, and I'm familiar with the whole story,
Mhm.
and it's really cool having like someone who hasn't really like ever seen it, like because like she asks questions that I like the reaction to things is nice too. Like she loves when Goku eats. She's like, man, he's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
But yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah.
And it was really fun to get to look at her and tell her that Goku's fight with Frieza is like 300 minutes long. It's the longest like anime fight ever, and she was like, "Oh, that's cool," because she's
"Oh,
liking it so
no."
far. But yeah, she does kind of think like some of the stuff kind of drones on. And I was like, "Oh, that's a complaint we all have. That's
Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
you're not alone there."
Yeah, that's true. They do draw things out a little bit, but it's all in the sake of, I don't know.
I don't know how we watch that like just week to week,
Yeah, I don't.
or was it? No, it was daily back then. It was daily, but still, like that was hard. I remember being upset sometimes with the way some episodes ended as a kid because like I didn't want them to end it there. It's a lot better to binge, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with you. Like I when they came out with like the Blu-rays and stuff like that, that was really a great idea because they came out with whole arcs and like you could just binge it all in one, in one sitting, and or you can go on Crunchyroll and you could watch it all there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
It works a lot better.
The
that way.
advent of the internet, it really kind of helped with that because otherwise, we'd still be like with VHSs and stuff like that and watching individual shows one by one. That's
Oh,
fun, yeah.
jeez. Yeah.
I remember like watching. I really wanted to keep up with Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day, like with like Saturday morning cartoons and stuff like that.
Mhm. Yeah. Me
And
too.
like I would have to, sometimes I would go to English school, like on the weekends or something, and I would miss it. So I would have my mom like tape it on our VHS, and then we come back and we'd have to go through so many VHS tapes just because I wanted to see, every episode of Yu-Gi-Oh, and it was only like half an hour. It was not even like 20 something minutes, with the commercials and everything. And man, like today we just boom, just
just
look
watch
at
it,
everything.
Yeah. It's changed everything.
Kids
Man,
today.
Yu-Gi-Oh is really good. I really like Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, I loved Yu-Gi-Oh, man. I loved like just I kind of like fell out with it towards the end where I think they're in like ancient Egypt and something like that. Like
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
didn't
that's about where I
watch.
fell off.
Yeah, I didn't get really.
But like, man,
into
Battle
it,
City
but-
when that happened when I was a
Oh
kid,
my
like when that first, that was the thing ever.
Oh my god, it was so cool, dude. They invited
Yeah.
me actually to see The Dark Side of Dimensions, which is the new movie. If you haven't seen that yet, I definitely recommend it. It's really good.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, it has like Kaiba comes back, the Pharaoh comes back, like all these like ridiculous things happen. It's
I love the
Yu-Gi-Oh!
lore in that
Really-
show. When people were like, "It's just a card game show," I'm like, "No, man. There's like a whole bunch of cool things going on the side." Like,
and Joey with his Brooklyn accent, like it's just I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah, it's just my childhood. Our childhood.
Mhm.
It's just all of that is right there. So that about wraps it up for this episode of the Time Hop Podcast. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm your host again, David Lozada. You can find me on Twitter at XenoCreator125. Tim is here. You can find him on King Gamer, writing articles as usual. And Josh Nichols is here. You can find him on Twitter at Mr. Josh Nichols and find him on the Active Quest podcast. As we mentioned last week, they're a really great show. You can find them on Google Play, iTunes, and I think you guys are on Spotify now, right?
yeah, I was surprised. Chris got us on there pretty quick. I thought it was hard to get on there, but he got us up there like within a day or two trying. That was cool.
Yeah, so they're on all these podcast services. Go check them out. They're an awesome show. They go through all the news. We were on there 2 weeks ago. We had so much fun, a lot of laughs, and
We'll definitely have to have you guys on again too. That was very fun.
yeah, that was super fun. So thank you for joining us, Josh.
Yeah, of course. It's happy to be on here.
Stay tuned next week as we discuss Minecraft. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your week. Bye.
Bye bye.